At 2:37 p.m., a Chinese Z-10 attack helicopter cuts across the South China Sea. Its mission to deter an American patrol with noise, speed, and intimidation. But intimidation is not combat readiness soon. This pilot would learn the difference. Across its path, an American MH-60R Romeo, the Navy's Swiss Army knife in the sky. Hunter, guardian, and electronic spy, this crew knew exactly what they were doing. Beneath the waves, a Chinese submarine ran low on air, desperate to recharge. Beijing thought a buzzing Z-10 could shield its submarine's weakness. In reality, it handed the US a priceless gift, front row to Chinese signals. For 72 minutes, the Z-10 became a beacon of tactical mistakes. Every flare, every radar sweep, it was all recorded, a treasure trove of secrets. The Z-10 swept across the Romeo's nose, desperate to rattle the crew. But the Americans had seen this before. Chinese theater, not real combat. At 50 nautical miles out, they were still in international airspace. For the Z-10 pilot, legality didn't matter, his orders were intimidation. 2 flares streaked through the humid sky, warnings without intent to kill. But the Romeo stayed focused. The real target lay beneath the waves. Every sensor, every pod, every strange lump was a weapon of surveillance. Its APS-153 radar could even catch periscopes slicing the waves. With dipping sonar, the Romeo tracked submarines in real time. And with ALQ-210, it wasn't a target, it was a flying vacuum cleaner. Every time the Z-10 radar painted them, the Romeo logged another signature. Each radio burst to headquarters was vacuumed up, stored, and analyzed. Beijing thought it was forcing America out. In reality, it gave away secrets. The Z-10 looked menacing, but against modern EW, it was checkers versus chess. Every aggressive move only dug the hole deeper, feeding US databases. Below the submarine, commander felt the pressure, and panic leaves traces. The ALQ-210 soaked up everything, even faint engine hums of the Z-10. Every radar has its fingerprint. Romeo was building a library of enemies. If war broke out, the US wouldn't guess, they'd already know the Z-10's face. Meanwhile, the submarine commander ordered an emergency dive, panic rising. But a fast dive creates cavitation like fireworks, exploding underwater. Pressure changes made the hull groan, amplifying the submarine's mistake. The Romeo sonar operator heard it all like a beacon across the ocean. Every US ship in the carrier group now heard the submarine loud and clear. What should have been stealth now collapsed into an unforced error. Above, the Romeo crew knew they'd won the psychological game. The submarine had panicked itself into the open, betrayed by its own fear. The Z-10 still circled above, barking at shadows like a guard dog. The irony was brutal. The Z-10 doomed the very submarine it came to protect. The Americans fired nothing, yet China had sabotaged itself completely. 18 minutes in, the Z-10 pilot thought he'd finally gained the upper hand. His fire control radar locked the Romeo, a hollow illusion of dominance. To Chinese eyes, it looked like power, but in truth it meant nothing. The Z-10 carried rockets and guns, tools for ground, not sky duels. Every radar pulse meant more valuable emissions for the Romeo to capture. The Romeo crew barely reacted, steady, calm, almost bored. They knew their helicopter was less vulnerable than the sub below. The submarine's emergency dive gave US ships days of tracking data. For the US Navy, this was the jackpot: air and sea secrets in one. Beijing staged a show of force, but delivered an open book of secrets. The Z-10 pilot had no idea, convinced his radar lock meant victory. He banked close, firing more flares in a last attempt to intimidate. To him, it was triumph. To the Americans, it was free intelligence. As minutes ticked by, arrogance turned into China's greatest weakness. Finally, the Z-10 peeled off, heading back to base. Mission failed. The Romeo crew didn't celebrate, they just logged another encounter. For them, it wasn't pride, it was information, cold and priceless. Every radar sweep, every desperate move archived, analyzed, weaponized. Instead of proving strength, Beijing revealed fragility in air and sea. The lesson was clear: discipline beats theatrics in modern warfare. For US planners, the outcome was a masterclass in Chinese weaknesses. Their prized Z-10 looked more showpiece than true battlefield threat. Meanwhile, the Type 039 submarine panicked, exposing its fragility. The Americans had fired no missile, launched no fighter, changed nothing. By staying calm, they forced their opponent into cascading mistakes. It proved an old naval truth: the side that keeps its cool usually wins. What Beijing intended as a warning became a priceless gift to America. The Romeo crew turned noise into knowledge, chaos into intelligence gold. If one helicopter could flip the script, imagine an entire carrier group. The lesson was unmistakable: China had handed over its playbook for free. For Beijing, the humiliation was complete: air and sea exposed in one night. Their submarine panicked, their helicopter barked, but neither struck fear. The Americans won by doing nothing. Discipline was their sharpest weapon. Sometimes the greatest weakness is believing you hold the stronger hand. The Romeo hadn't chased glory, it harvested knowledge for the future. Noise became knowledge, flares became files, chaos became clarity. For US analysts, this was intelligence gold worth more than any missile. Beijing tried to scare, but ended up giving away its entire playbook. The question now, what happens the next time they try the same trick? Would a carrier strike group laugh it off, or end the game outright? If you were in that Romeo, would you laugh or feel a chill of danger? Would you see Chinese flares as theater or as the spark of war? Drop your take. Would you laugh it off or grip the controls tighter? In the South China Sea, every flare, every ping carries consequences. Sometimes the greatest battles are fought without a single shot fired. Information, not firepower, decided the outcome that day. Noise became a library, arrogance became weakness, calm became victory. And the South China Sea remembered. Remember that. Thanks for watching. Join the fleet. Stories like this are just the beginning.